Lisa Marshall stood at the entrance of the massive crystal dome, her heart beating fast as she straightened her blue diplomatic uniform. The Galactic Space Council headquarters on Centauri Prime was everything Earth's reports had described, and more. The structure seemed to float in space itself, its transparent walls revealing the dance of stars and nearby planets. She took a deep breath. After 15 years of space exploration and first contact with alien species, humanity had finally earned a seat at the council. Or at least, that's what they thought. Lisa knew better. This was merely a courtesy visit, a chance for the older species to size up the newcomers. Ambassador Marshall, "They're ready for you," said her aide, Ryan Baker, a young man fresh out of the diplomatic corps. His nervousness showed in the way he clutched his datapad. Lisa nodded and walked through the shimmering energy field that served as a door. The council chamber was circular, with 15 raised platforms arranged in a perfect ring. Each platform held representatives from different species, some humanoid, others completely alien in form. The Zarkax, with their crystalline bodies, sparkled under the chamber's soft light. The Mirians, resembling tall, elegant praying mantises, clicked their mandibles in what Lisa recognized as a greeting. The vulture-y, gaseous beings contained in environment suits swirled in their designated spaces. "The representative from Earth may approach the center," announced High Counselor Vextal, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The High Counselor's species, the Etherians, were known for their logical thinking and long lives. The youngest among them was 500 Earth years old. Lisa walked to the center platform, her footsteps echoing in the chamber. She could feel their judgment, their subtle dismissal of her species' worth. To them, humanity was barely out of its cradle. "Honorable members of the council," she began, her voice clear and strong. "Earth thanks you for this opportunity to—" A sudden commotion interrupted her speech. A junior Marian burst into the chamber, its antennae twitching in distress. Emergency broadcast from Sector 7. "The Kraxan Empire has launched a massive attack on human colonies." The chamber erupted in chittering, whistles, and various alien languages. Lisa's blood ran cold. The Kraxan Empire. Earth had never even heard of them. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing scenes of destruction. 3 human colonies, New Hope, Freedom's Point, and Liberty Station, were under attack. Massive warships, black as space itself, rained death upon the settlements. "How many ships?" Lisa demanded, forgetting diplomatic protocol. The Mirian's antennae drooped. "Over 300 capital ships, Ambassador. The Kraxan Empire has deployed their main fleet." Lisa turned to the council members. "Earth requests immediate assistance. We are a new member of this council, and these are unprovoked attacks on civilian colonies." High Counselor Vextal raised all 4 hands, a gesture for silence. "The council must discuss this matter according to proper procedures. Ambassador Marshall, please wait outside while we deliberate." "Wait outside." Lisa's voice rose. "There are millions of human lives at stake. Our colonies are being destroyed as we speak." "Ambassador," the vulture representative's translation device spoke in a monotone, "you must understand that the council has protocols. We cannot simply—" "Protocols." Ryan Baker stepped forward, his young face red with anger. "Our people are dying." The council chamber grew cold. Literally. The Zarkax representative's crystalline body emitted frost as it spoke. "The human representatives will leave the chamber now. We will summon you when we have reached a decision." Lisa wanted to scream, to make them understand, but years of diplomatic training held her back. She bowed stiffly and walked out, Ryan following close behind. In the waiting area, Lisa activated her neural link to Earth Command. The situation was worse than the initial reports. The Kraxan ships used technology far beyond humanity's current capabilities. Their weapons cut through colonial defenses like paper. "Earth Command is mobilizing everything we have," General Howard's holographic image reported grimly. "But our ships are scattered across our territory. It will take hours to mount any significant defense. The Council, Lisa began, but Howard shook his head. Don't count on them. Ambassador, we've studied their history. The Galactic Council hasn't intervened in a conflict for over 3,000 years. They'll debate while our colonies burn. 3 hours passed. Lisa watched helplessly as reports came in. The colony on New Hope had gone dark. Freedom's Point's defenses were failing. Only Liberty Station, protected by a dense asteroid field, was holding out, barely. When the Council finally summoned them back, Lisa already knew their decision. High Counselor Vextel's voice was neutral, almost bored. The Council has reviewed the situation. While we regret the loss of life, we must maintain our policy of non-interference in military conflicts between species. The Kraxan Empire is not a member of this council, and therefore we cannot. Cannot what? Lisa's voice cut through the chamber like a laser. Cannot help. Cannot save innocent lives. What is the purpose of this council, if not to maintain peace? Ambassador Marshall, the Marian representative clicked. You must understand. The council serves as an advisory body, not a military alliance. We cannot risk. Risk what? Your comfortable positions, your peaceful lives. Lisa looked around the chamber, meeting each alien gaze. Remember this day. Remember when humanity asked for help, and you chose to do nothing. She turned to leave, then stopped. Without looking back, she spoke one last time. You think you're watching a primitive species being culled. You're wrong. You're watching humanity learn its first lesson in galactic politics, and I promise you, we learn very, very quickly. As Lisa strode out of the council chamber, emergency alerts flashed across her neural link. Earth Command was mobilizing every ship, every soldier, every resource they had. Humanity had wanted to join the galactic community as peaceful explorers. Instead, they would have to prove themselves in war. Ryan Baker caught up with her at the shuttle bay. Ambassador, Earth Command has promoted you to Emergency Diplomatic Coordinator. They want you to stay here, gather intelligence. Lisa nodded as they boarded their shuttle. She looked back at the crystal dome of the council headquarters, now seeming less magnificent and more like a beautiful, useless ornament. Send a message to Command, she told Ryan. Tell them what we learned today. In space, humanity stands alone. And tell them to activate the War Mine Protocol. The War Mine Protocol. Ryan's face paled. But that's never been tested outside simulations. Now we test it in reality. Lisa's face was grim as their shuttle broke orbit. The Council thinks we're primitive. Fine. Let's show them how primitive humans wage war. As their shuttle entered FTL speed, Lisa thought about the Council's dismissal, their casual disregard for human lives. They thought humanity would be an easy target, a young species to be ignored or pitied. They would learn. They would all learn. Behind them, the crystal dome continued its serene orbit around Centauri Prime, its occupants unaware that they had just witnessed the beginning of a change that would shake the foundations of their comfortable ancient order. Humanity had come to the stars seeking friendship. Instead, they found their first war. And humans, as the galaxy would soon learn, were very, very good at war. Daniel Wood stood in the center of Earth Command's war room, his eyes fixed on the massive holographic display showing the positions of both human and Kraxan forces. At 45, he had spent his entire adult life studying military strategy, but nothing had prepared him for this. The Kraxan have pushed through our outer defense line, reported Captain Amy Porter, her hologram flickering beside him. They're using some kind of energy weapon we've never seen before. Our shields might as well be paper. Daniel rubbed his chin, studying the movement patterns of the enemy ships. Something wasn't right. The Kraxan were powerful, yes, but their movements were predictable, almost like they were following a rulebook. Show me their attack patterns again, he ordered. All encounters from the past week. The hologram shifted, displaying dozens of battles in rapid sequence. Daniel's eyes narrowed. There. Stop. Play that sector again. half speed. The scene showed a Kraxan fleet overwhelming a human defense station. Their ships moved in perfect formation, their attacks precisely timed. "They're using standard attack protocols," Daniel muttered. "Computer, analyze Kraxan fleet movements against known tactical databases." The AI's response came quickly. Analysis complete. Kraxan battle strategies show 89% similarity to classical naval warfare tactics from Earth's 19th century. Daniel smiled for the first time in days. They're fighting like old-time sailing ships. Perfect formations, line of battle, coordinated broadsides. They've never adapted their tactics because they've never needed to. Commander Woods. Amy looked confused. "What are you thinking?" "I'm thinking it's time to show them how humans fight when we're backed into a corner." He turned to the command staff. "Get me Admiral Linda Phillips. We're going to rewrite our battle plans." Within an hour, the war room was filled with holographic commanders from across human space. Admiral Phillips, her gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, spoke first. "Commander Woods, you have the floor. Make it quick. We're losing ships by the hour." Daniel stepped forward. "The Kraxan think they're superior because their technology is better, but they fight like machines, following the same patterns they've used for centuries. We're going to use that against them." He waved his hand, and a hologram showed a new battle formation. "Forget everything you know about standard space combat. We're going to fight like guerrillas, small groups, hit and run attacks. Never engage their main fleet directly." "That's suicide," someone objected. "Our ships are already outgunned." "Exactly," Daniel smiled. "They'll expect us to either run or fight conventionally. Instead, we're going to fight dirty." "Admiral Phillips, remember the Battle of Midway." The Admiral's eyes lit up. "Asymmetrical warfare. Use their strength against them." "Better than that." Daniel expanded the hologram. "We're going to use human unpredictability. Every captain gets autonomy to make battlefield decisions. No rigid formations, no standard protocols. Fight like humans. Adapt, improvise, surprise them." He turned to the technical team. "And we're going to give them something they've never seen before. Chief Morrison, how quickly can we modify our communication buoys into fake ship signatures?" Chief Kate Morrison grinned. "Give me 6 hours. We can make 100 ships look like 1,000. The next 12 hours were a blur of activity. Daniel coordinated with every ship captain, teaching them new tactics. Forget about honor in battle. Forget about fair fights. Use asteroids for cover. Play dead and ambush them. Make them chase sensor ghosts across whole sectors." The first test of the new strategy came at the Battle of Liberty Station. The Kraxan fleet arrived in perfect formation, expecting to find a desperate human defense force. Instead, they found chaos. Small groups of human ships darted between asteroids, firing from impossible angles. When the Kraxan adjusted their formation to respond, they found themselves shooting at sensor ghosts, while real ships attacked from their blind spots. "Status report," Daniel called out as the battle unfolded on the holographic display. "Kraxan fleet is breaking formation," Amy reported, excitement in her voice. "They're trying to adapt, but their command structure is too rigid. Their ships are actually colliding with each other." Daniel watched as the mighty Kraxan fleet fell into disarray. Their superior technology meant nothing when their captains couldn't adapt to human unpredictability. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "we're picking up transmissions from the Kraxan command ship. They're arguing with each other." "Of course they are," Daniel murmured. "Their entire military doctrine is falling apart. They don't know how to handle an enemy that doesn't play by their rules." The battle ended with the first major human victory of the war. The Kraxan lost 30 ships, while the human fleet lost only 7. More importantly, the enemy retreated in confusion, their perfect formation shattered. In the aftermath, Daniel received an unexpected communication from Lisa Marshall at the Galactic Council. "The council members are disturbed," she reported, trying to hide a smile. They'd never seen warfare like this. The Zarkak's representative actually asked if humans were using some kind of mind control on our ships. "Tell them it's just how humans think," Daniel replied. "We're unpredictable because we're individuals, not drones following a rulebook." Over the next few days, reports came in from across the front. Human captains were embracing the new tactics with enthusiasm. One destroyer took out 3 Kraxan cruisers by playing dead and attacking when they came to investigate. Another group used the gravity of a gas giant to slingshot their ships into impossible attack positions. In the war room, Daniel added each new successful tactic to the database, letting captains share and adapt strategies in real time. The Kraxan, bound by their rigid command structure, couldn't keep up. "The Council is asking for information about our battle tactics," Lisa reported in another communication. "They're offering technological assistance in exchange." "Decline politely," Daniel ordered. "Let them watch and wonder. They thought we were primitive. Let's keep them guessing." As he studied the latest battle reports, Daniel reflected on how quickly humans had adapted to space warfare. The Kraxan had centuries of experience, but humans had something better: creativity, independence, and the ability to think outside any box the enemy tried to put them in. "Sir," Amy's voice interrupted his thoughts. "The Kraxan are pulling back from 3 sectors. They're regrouping their forces." "They'll be back," Daniel said, "but they'll find a different human fleet waiting for them. One that gets stronger and smarter with every battle." He looked at the holographic display, now showing more green human sectors than red Kraxan-controlled ones. The enemy still had better technology and more ships, but they were learning a harsh lesson: never underestimate humanity's capacity to adapt and overcome. The war was far from over, but for the first time, humanity wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting to win. And in the war room, Daniel Woods continued to plan, innovate, and show the galaxy why human unpredictability was the deadliest weapon of all. Commander Susan Hayes watched from the bridge of her ship, the Swift Strike, as her small fleet of 15 vessels moved silently through the debris field. They had powered down all non-essential systems, letting the massive field of destroyed ships and space junk hide them from Kraxan sensors. "All ships reporting ready, Commander," whispered Lieutenant Paul Carter, though there was no need to whisper in space. The tension had everyone speaking softly. Susan nodded, her eyes fixed on the tactical display. 3 Kraxan supply convoys were scheduled to pass through this sector, protected by their usual excessive escort of warships. The Kraxan never learned. They always followed the same routes, used the same tactics. "Remember," she spoke to her fleet through the secure channel, "we hit them exactly like we practiced. No glory hunting, no heroics. Get in, cause chaos. Get out." The wait was tense. Susan's fleet had been conducting these guerrilla raids for weeks now, striking from hidden positions, then vanishing before the Kraxan could mount an effective response. Today's target was their biggest yet. "Contact," the sensor officer reported. 3 convoys, right on schedule. 20 escort ships. Susan allowed herself a small smile. The Kraxan's predictability was their greatest weakness. "All ships, initiate attack pattern Hayes 7. Good hunting." Her fleet burst from the debris field like wolves from the shadows. The Swift Strike led the charge, its engines flaring to full power. The Kraxan escorts, caught completely by surprise, took precious seconds to raise their shields. "Target their sensor arrays," Susan ordered. "Blind them first, then hit their engines." Human ships darted between the massive Kraxan vessels, firing with deadly precision. They had learned that while Kraxan shields were nearly impenetrable from the front, they had weak points at very specific angles. It was like threading a needle at light speed, but human pilots had gotten very good at it. "Commander," Carter called out, "they're trying to form their battle line." "Perfect." Susan keyed her fleet-wide channel. "Execute scatter pattern. Let's show them our little surprise." Her ships broke formation, each one heading in a different direction. The Kraxan commanders, trained to fight organized battles, couldn't decide which ships to chase. As they hesitated, Susan's fleet deployed their secret weapon. Electronic warfare package activated, reported her tactical officer, releasing the ghosts. Dozens of false sensor signatures bloomed across space, courtesy of Earth's best electronic warfare experts. To Kraxan sensors, it looked like 100 human ships had suddenly appeared from nowhere. The effect was immediate. The Kraxan fleet broke their carefully maintained formation, ships turning in different directions as conflicting orders flew back and forth. Their rigid command structure, which demanded approval from higher ranks for any tactical change, became their undoing. Now, Susan ordered, hit their supply ships. Her fleet struck with precision, ignoring the confused escort vessels. Precision shots disabled the supply ship's engines and weapons. In less than 5 minutes, the entire convoy was dead in space. Message from the Kraxan flagship, Carter reported, trying to hide his grin. They're surrendering their supply ships to prevent unnecessary losses. A cheer went up on the bridge, quickly silenced by Susan's raised hand. Let's not celebrate yet. Secure those supplies and let's get out of here before their reinforcements arrive. As her crews worked to salvage the precious cargo, Susan received an unexpected transmission from Earth Command. Daniel Wood's hologram appeared on her command screen. Excellent work, Commander Hayes, he said. But we got something bigger planned. How would you like to teach the Kraxan a lesson they'll never forget? Susan listened as Woods outlined Operation Thunderstrike, the most ambitious human offensive of the war. Her fleet's success had proven that humans could beat the Kraxan. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humanity could really do. Back at the Galactic Council, Lisa Marshall was dealing with a different kind of victory. The alien representatives, who had dismissed humanity months ago, were now asking increasingly worried questions about human combat capabilities. We don't understand. The Mirian representative clicked nervously. Your ships are technologically inferior. Your weapons are less powerful. Your shields are weaker. How are you defeating the Kraxan? Lisa thought about Susan's fleet, about the countless human crews who had learned to fight in ways the galaxy had never seen. We adapt, she said simply. Every human ship captain is free to think and act independently. We learn from each battle, share what works, discard what doesn't. But that's chaos. The Zarkax representative's crystalline form pulsed with agitation. There must be order in warfare. There must be proper protocols. Must there? Lisa asked quietly. The Kraxan thought so too. They're learning differently now. As if to prove her point, news arrived of another human victory. Susan Hayes' fleet had struck again, this time destroying a Kraxan shipyard. The council chamber erupted in excited chittering and worried whistles. In the following days, human fleets across space began implementing the tactics proven by Susan's raids. Small, fast-moving groups struck from unexpected directions, using electronic warfare to confuse and disorient the enemy before disappearing back into the vastness of space. The Kraxan responded by building bigger ships with stronger shields. Susan's crews responded by finding new weak points to exploit. The enemy deployed more escort ships. Humans developed better stealth systems. It became a constant race of adaptation versus rigid doctrine. The Kraxan have maintained military superiority for 3 centuries, the Volturi representative observed to Lisa. No species has ever challenged them successfully. Yet humans fight differently. Lisa finished. We don't try to match their strength. We use their strength against them. As reports of more human victories flooded in, the council began to understand what they were witnessing. This wasn't just a war between species. It was a clash between 2 fundamentally different ways of thinking. The rigid, ordered military doctrine of the Kraxan versus the adaptive, innovative human approach to warfare. And humanity was winning. Susan Hayes' fleet became legendary among both humans and aliens. Her crews developed new tactics that were quickly adopted across the human fleet. The Kraxan, for the first time in their history, were forced to admit that superior technology wasn't enough. They faced an enemy that thought in ways they couldn't understand or predict. The turning point had come. Humanity had proven itself not just capable of surviving, but of changing the very nature of space warfare. The galaxy would never be the same. Chief Engineer Peter Martinez stared at the captured Kraxan shield generator, his mind racing with possibilities. The device was a masterpiece of engineering, far more advanced than anything humans had developed. But as he studied it, he began to see something the Kraxan had missed. "Look at this," he said to his engineering team in the Earth's primary research facility. "They built it perfectly, but they built it like a machine. There's no room for adaptation, no flexibility." Sarah Adams, his assistant, peered at the complex device. "What are you thinking, Chief?" Peter grabbed a tablet and started sketching. The Kraxan made their shields powerful but rigid. What if we combine their technology with our shield modulation techniques? Make it adaptable, able to learn and change during battle. Over the next few days, Peter's team worked around the clock, combining human and Kraxan technology in ways neither species had imagined. They weren't just copying the alien technology, they were improving it, making it more flexible, more human. "First test ready," Sarah announced, standing beside their prototype. The device was a hybrid of smooth Kraxan engineering and human innovation, cables and crystals working together in new ways. Peter activated the shield. Blue energy flickered to life, but instead of forming the standard rigid barrier, it pulsed and moved like a living thing. When they fired test weapons at it, the shield adapted, strengthening where needed and redirecting energy elsewhere. "It works," Peter breathed, watching the readings. "It actually works better than the original." He immediately contacted Earth Command. Within hours, the news spread through human space. Engineers began retrofitting captured Kraxan technology with human modifications. Ships that had been outgunned suddenly had shields that could adapt mid-battle, weapons that could adjust to enemy defenses. On the front lines, the effect was immediate. The Kraxan found themselves facing human ships using modified versions of their own technology, but in ways they had never imagined possible. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council, Lisa Marshall received increasingly panicked reports from various species. The Zarkax representative approached her after a session. "Your species," it said, crystalline form glowing with concern. "You don't just use technology. You change it, improve it. This is unprecedented." Lisa noticed other council members watching the exchange. "Humans have always been inventors," she explained. "We see technology not as something fixed, but as something that can always be made better." In her private office, she received a confidential message from Daniel Woods. "Some council members have been helping the Kraxan," he reported grimly. "We've traced weapons shipments through supposedly neutral systems." Lisa wasn't surprised. The older species feared change, and humanity represented more change than they'd seen in centuries. But it was too late to stop it. Peter's innovation spread rapidly through the human fleet. Every captured piece of Kraxan technology was studied, modified, improved. Human engineers shared their discoveries freely, each improvement building on the last. "The Kraxan are falling back in 3 sectors," reported Admiral Phillips during a war council. "Their technological advantage is disappearing. They don't know how to handle ships that can adapt during battle." But the biggest surprise came from an unexpected source. A young engineer in Peter's team discovered that Kraxan communication systems had a fatal flaw. They couldn't handle rapid, unpredictable changes in frequency. They built their entire communication network on the assumption that no one would think to do this. Peter explained to the War Council. "Their ships need constant connection to their command structure. If we disrupt that..." The next major battle proved his theory. Human ships attacked a Kraxan fleet base, their modified shields absorbing enemy fire, while their new communication jammers threw the Kraxan into chaos. Without clear orders from their commanders, the enemy ships fell into confusion. "They're breaking formation," reported Susan Hayes, who was leading the attack. "Their ships are actually firing on each other." The battle became a rout. Kraxan ships, cut off from their rigid command structure, either surrendered or retreated in disorder. It was the biggest human victory of the war. In the aftermath, Peter's team made another breakthrough. They found a way to integrate Kraxan power systems with human engines, creating ships that were both more powerful and more maneuverable than anything either species had built before. This isn't just about winning the war anymore, Peter told his team as they worked on the new hybrid systems. We're creating something entirely new. The galaxy has never seen ships like these. The Galactic Council watched with growing amazement as humanity not only survived but thrived. Species that had looked down on humans as primitives now sent quiet requests for technological cooperation. They're afraid, Lisa realized during one council session, not of our weapons, but of our ability to change, to adapt, to take their technology and make it better. The Kraxan Empire, faced with an enemy that grew stronger with each battle, began to show signs of internal strain. Their rigid society, built on technological superiority and unquestioning obedience, couldn't handle an adversary that constantly evolved. Peter Martinez continued his work, each new innovation spreading quickly through the human fleet. His hybrid technology became the standard, proving that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in building perfect machines, but in making them better. The Kraxan don't understand, he explained to a group of alien observers who had come to study human engineering methods. Technology isn't meant to be static. It's meant to grow, to change, to improve. Just like us. As the war entered its final phase, humanity had proven something extraordinary. They hadn't just survived against a technologically superior enemy. They had taken that technology and made it their own, improving it in ways its original creators had never imagined. The human element had changed everything. In workshops and laboratories across human space, engineers like Peter Martinez continued to push the boundaries of what was possible, combining alien technology with human innovation in ways that would reshape the galaxy forever. The Kraxan had started the war believing their superior technology made them invincible. Instead, they had given humanity the tools to surpass them, and in doing so, had sealed their own fate. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Every representative watched as Lisa Marshall presented the final battle reports. On the holographic display, thousands of dots representing Kraxan ships blinked out one by one as human fleets advanced across space. The Kraxan Empire has lost 80% of its territory, Lisa stated calmly. Their remaining forces are in retreat. Their central government has collapsed. Multiple Kraxan worlds are requesting peace talks directly with Earth. High Counselor Vextol's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. This is unprecedented. No species has ever defeated the Kraxan Empire. They have dominated space warfare for centuries. Until they met humans, Lisa replied. She looked around the chamber, meeting the gaze of each council member. The same humans you dismissed as primitive. The same humans you refused to help when we were attacked. In orbit above Earth, the combined human fleet gathered for a victory parade. Ships of all sizes displayed their battle scars proudly. Many now carried hybrid technology, their hulls showing both human and modified Kraxan designs. Commander Susan Hayes stood on the bridge of her flagship, now twice the size of her original vessel thanks to Peter Martinez's innovations. All ships report ready for the ceremony, her officer announced. The fleet lined up in perfect formation, not because they had to, but because they chose to. Each ship commander had earned the right to fly their own way, but today they showed the galaxy that humans could be disciplined when they wanted to be. Back in the council chamber, the Mirian representative stepped forward. We propose that humanity take leadership of the Council's Defense Committee. Your species has proven itself uniquely qualified. Lisa hid her smile. Just months ago, these same aliens had seen humans as barely worth noticing. Earth will consider the proposal, she said diplomatically. But first, we need to discuss the council members who secretly aided the Kraxan Empire. The chamber erupted in nervous whispers. Lisa activated a holographic display showing supply routes and weapon shipments. We have proof that 3 Council species provided advanced technology to the Kraxan, violating Council neutrality laws. The accused representatives tried to protest, but the evidence was clear. Daniel Woods had gathered it meticulously, tracking every shipment, every secret meeting. Earth does not seek punishment, Lisa continued. Instead, we want reform. The Council has grown stagnant, afraid of change. That ends today. In his laboratory, Peter Martinez watched the Council session while working on his latest project. The captured Kraxan flagship had yielded new technologies that he was already improving. His team had grown to include engineers from 15 different species, all eager to learn the human way of innovation. The Kraxan built everything to last forever, he explained to a young Zarkax engineer. That was their mistake. Nothing lasts forever. Everything must adapt or die. The Kraxan learned this lesson too late. Their empire, built on rigid hierarchy and unchanging traditions, shattered when faced with human adaptability. Their remaining worlds sued for peace, accepting human terms without question. Daniel Woods, now promoted to admiral, reviewed the terms with Earth's leadership. We're not seeking revenge, he explained. We want to help them change, to learn to think for themselves. The peace terms were surprisingly generous. The Kraxan would keep their homeworld and core systems. They would be required to reform their government, allowing more individual freedom. And most importantly, they would send their military officers to train with humans. Train with humans. The Kraxan Supreme Commander looked confused when he heard this condition. But you defeated us. Why would you teach us? Because that's what humans do, Susan Hayes told him during the surrender ceremony. We learn, we adapt, and we teach others to do the same. The galaxy watched in amazement as human military academies opened their doors to alien students. Daniel's battle strategies became required study. Susan's guerrilla tactics were analyzed in detail. Peter's engineering innovations sparked a revolution in technology development. At the Galactic Council, Lisa oversaw the reforms. The old system of rigid protocols and endless debate was replaced with a more flexible approach. Younger species were given more voice. Innovation was encouraged rather than feared. We thought we were the pinnacle of civilization, the Volturi representative admitted privately to Lisa. We were wrong. The galaxy needed humanity's chaos, your ability to see new possibilities. The final victory came not with weapons, but with words. The Kraxan Empire officially disbanded, replaced by a federation of independent worlds. Their first act was to request membership in the reformed Galactic Council. Lisa stood once again in the council chamber, but this time as its leader. The chamber had changed. The raised platforms were gone, replaced by a circular table where all representatives sat as equals. Today marks a new era, she announced, not just for humanity, but for all species. We've proven that strength lies not in rigid perfection, but in the ability to change, to grow, to improve. In orbit around Earth, Susan Hayes watched new ships under construction. They combined the best of all species technology, improved by human innovation. Her fleet now included alien officers, each bringing their own perspectives to space warfare. Peter Martinez's laboratories became the center of a technological renaissance. Species that had hoarded their secrets for centuries now shared knowledge freely, excited by the possibilities of human-style innovation. Daniel Woods retired from active service but continued teaching at the new Galactic Military Academy. His students came from hundreds of worlds, each learning not just tactics, but how to think creatively, how to adapt. The galaxy had changed forever. The human way, flexible, innovative, always evolving, had proven superior not through force, but through its ability to grow and improve. The age of rigid empires was over. A new era had begun, shaped by the species that had arrived last, but adapted fastest. Humanity had not just won a war. They had shown the galaxy a new way to exist, to grow, to live. And in doing so, they had earned their place not just on the council, but as leaders of a new galactic age. High Counselor Lisa Marshall smiled as she looked out at the stars from the council chamber. The galaxy was changing, growing, improving, becoming more human with each passing day. And that, she knew, was the greatest victory of all.